I guess that acid trip from a couple years ago really taught Ari Aster how to make a good film again.
These are your streets.
No, they're your streets to keep safe.
Joaquin Phoenix and Pedro Pascal duel it out as political rivals in Ari Aster's Eddington. One of my hot takes when it comes to film in the last decade or so is that I find Ari Aster to be an overrated filmmaker. Now, before you say anything in the comments, that's not me hating on this director. I think he's made some good stuff, but I'm just not a fan of his writing as opposed to his directing and visuals. Now, that's not to say he hasn't had any influence on a lot of films recently. Hell, a lot of the films that I like have taken influence from this director. But I've just never really been the biggest fan of his writing. Hereditary is without a doubt his best film as a writer and director, but I find Midsummer to be just a pretty generic cult film, and Beau is Afraid.
Fine, you
No, please.
yeah.
Do I even need to go into more detail about that? So when the hype was brewing around his next film, which was going to be a Western epic handling the 2020 pandemic, I was ready for this film to honestly crash and burn. I was thinking this movie was going to make the same jokes and the same commentaries that I've heard from the last few years about this time period. The same types of jokes that I would hear from late night talk show hosts and of course the mass media. Now that I've seen the film, I can't believe I'm saying this, this might be my favorite Ari Aster film next to Hereditary. One of the best things that this film does is that it doesn't hold back on its commentary and chooses to make fun of whoever it pleases. It makes fun of liberals, conservatives, conspiracy theorists, political extremists, and protesters, all in a tongue-in-cheek manner that just kept me laughing the whole way through. What I also like is that the film didn't stereotype any of its main characters like Joaquin Phoenix and Pedro Pascal or portray them as better than the other. I was thinking that in the trailers they were going to make Joaquin Phoenix the stereotypical Republican while Pedro Pascal would be the stereotypical liberal foil, but they don't do that. The film shows them as normal people with their own set of morals as they break down throughout the course of the film. No one explicitly is the bad guy or the good guy at the start of the movie. It just happens that the course of the movie leads them to take one step further than they should. If anything, it makes the characters far more interesting and makes the events of the movie more heartbreaking as we get more into these characters' lives. Of course, the performances by Joaquin Phoenix and Pedro Pascal are great as usual, along with other performances by Emma Stone, Deidre O'Connell, and Michael Ward, who help to sell many of the chaotic emotions throughout the film. Not only does the film do a good job at humanizing its characters beyond stereotypes, the film does a really good job at portraying the insanity of this time. From the BLM protests, to conspiracy theories, to masks, it goes after it all. And all of it was incredibly funny satire showcasing just how insane the period was. One of my favorite little subplots in the film was this kid that's trying to hook up with this social justice protester throughout the film. The scenes this kid has is really funny as he's constantly trying to show that he understands what this girl is talking about just so he can get with her, and particularly one scene where he sits down with his family that just got a huge laugh out of me. As expected for an Ari Aster film, the cinematography is great along with the score, which helps to offset many of the tense scenes in this film. However, I wish I could go into more detail about what I liked about this film, but this would start getting into spoiler territory as the film takes a massive turn in the second half of the film that I dare not go into more detail about. However, what I will end off on is the couple of nitpicks that I have with the film. I think the biggest one being Austin Butler's character in this film. He plays this cult leader who gets noticed by Emma Stone's character, and while he has some funny scenes in this, I feel like he was pretty underutilized throughout the film. He just pops back into the film at random points, and I wish they used him more in this film. Additionally, the film's pacing does take a hit towards the ending, as the epilogue does sort of drag on a little bit, and I was just kind of wondering when would this movie end. Overall, I think Eddington is the much needed return to form for Ari Aster, giving biting satire, great performances, along with great humor and great drama. I'm really curious to see what the reception of this movie is going to be like over the couple weeks because of the subject matter, but I just care about Ari Aster making good films again. I'm going to give Eddington a 9 out of 10. And that was my thoughts on Eddington. What did you guys think of it? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Tell me down in the comments. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next review. Take care.